Baby shark do 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 do, baby shark do 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 do, baby shark do 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 do, baby shark. Do ba 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 do. OER do 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 do, OER do 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 do, OER do 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 do, OER.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to this afternoon's OER sessions. It's my absolute pleasure to welcome Tiramani to this afternoon, who's going to be our speaker. And Tiramani will be sharing OER flashcards to raise digital inequalities awareness in the educational sector. So thank you for coming, Tiramani. Really looking forward to this session. And I will hand over to you.
Thank you. So hopefully you can all see my slides now. I'm trying also to, yes, is it sharing? Sorry, I can't hear you, Kerry. Are you saying something?
Nope, your slides are all there, ready to go.
I think I'm in, right? Yeah, so hi everyone. So I'm Tiramani. Thank you everybody who's joined us today. I'm not too sure who's joining, so I've got 8 people. Can I just ask a quick question? Where are you joining from? And are you an educator? Are you in professional services? Are you a student? Quick input from you would help to talk about digital inequalities. So I've got somebody from Ireland. Yeah. Can we have hellos from others who are watching us? Who else do we have today?
It'll just take a second because they have a bit of a delay between you saying something and them hearing it. So there we go. They're just coming through.
So we've got somebody from Leicester, somebody from Ireland, yeah, Midlands, UK again. Hi, Teresa. Hi, Gabby. Dublin, Colombia. Okay. British Columbia. Okay. Do we have anyone else outside from, let's say, remote places? Somebody, yeah, Gabby is a learning designer supporting academics. Somebody else said Cape Town. Yeah, hi. You're not far from me. Somebody is from Denmark and somebody is Northern Ireland. Okay, we've got a good mix, which is based in Galway, Irish. Yeah, okay, we've got a good mix. I think we'll understand what digital inequalities are among us today. So moving on to, so today I'm just going to present a project that I've been doing. Recently, I started it about 2.5 months back, or 3 months, and it's a bit of a serendipity story that I'm going to share. And I've put my little penguin that I just drew because I'm attending the conference online only, and I just watched the plenary from Brian, so that was my penguin that I just added to my slides. And I'm going to briefly cover digital inequalities, so pre-pandemic, during the pandemic, now and later. I think the mix of people that we've got on the session today, I think we all understand a bit of what digital inequality is. And then we're going to do a photo-a-thon. So hopefully you all have some pictures if you've seen my messages in Discord and Twitter earlier. I'm going to play a little story, a little video about my serendipity video that I shared for Alan Levin's presentation yesterday. I'm just going to play the, it doesn't seem to work. Kerry, can you help me? Can you play 2 minutes and 50 into that video, please? Hi, I'm Tiramani. My current open project is a bit of a serendipity story. It's actually started from an email that I got from a mailing list. Usually I would have deleted those sorts of emails, but I found myself registering for a creative event early this year, which was entitled Let's Dance and Play That Funky Music to Facilitate Learning. And as part of that, we had an activity which I was put in a group of 3. I think there was Tom Boons also in that group and someone else. and we had to come up with some sync music. So at the end, we came up. I think we had just like about 3 or 5 minutes to come up with some music, and we had some claps, whistles, and then we played something called a talum, which you can see here. It's just a small handheld cymbals. And somebody was hitting a Pilate ball. We somehow made some noise. It was not perfect, but it was a success story for me. Um, and I think that just came about and inspired me to do a couple of projects actually, most of which I'm working on my own, around problems which I've been trying to tackle in Etchi for a long time, but somehow I haven't found that the normal route has been working. So the project, my OER 22 project, is actually making use of flashcards. It's inspired by another story also from Creative Etchi. Um, and so making use of flashcards and an open contribution under Creative Commons licenses to show digital inequality. I think it kind of reflects a bit my own experience of I remember being shocked, uh, just hearing people being shocked of hearing that there was digital inequality when the pandemic started, because this was something that I was already working on, digital accessibility, digital equity, and to me it was normal. So I was quite shocked. And also, part of the pandemic, I actually spent part of it in UK and part of it in Mauritius. So I faced digital inequity, almost kind of parallel. You can't compare. Um, and I think these inspired me to kind of go into this project as well. And there's another project which I'm not presenting on OER 22, but which also came a bit of a sort of. We can cut, yeah, thank you. So I'll move back to thank you, Curry. So you've heard the story of how this project started. So I think we all among us here today learning technologies and with somebody who's a retired professor in languages and all. I think we understand a bit the pre-pandemic and the during pandemic inequality. I've also added on the slides that I'll provide later, I've added some matters that I wrote, some blog posts. I wrote something around race and equality in learning platforms, and I focus on digital poverty, and I'm adding all these on the slides. Today is the International Day for Safety and Health at Work. So I've released something which is a blog on changing mindset to reduce discrimination at work. And there's also a video which I'm editing. It will be released some point in time today. And there's also a Padlet. The last one is a Padlet around that I did a session that I delivered for one of the alt-sig, and it's a reflection on equity in technologies within the UK actually. Obviously, there's some of the references that you can go through later on. But the project concept, so now and later, I don't know about you, but 2022, I have not become any richer. I have not, and as far as I know, the world has not got any richer. We haven't suddenly got loads of money that just appeared from nowhere. Probably we'll say the 10% who always enjoys the 90% of the wealth of the world, they got richer, yes, but I didn't. And probably some of you are also in the same boat as me. So poverty in itself, I'm not saying digital poverty, but I'm saying poverty in itself, which is one of the main causes of digital poverty as well, will remain post-pandemic as well. But we should not forget that that inequity will exist. So tech inequity will still exist. And one other thing that, yes, there's 5G, 6G, but right now in Mauritius, I've had to actually buy data package also on a broadband, because my broadband is not that stable most of the time, and sometimes I don't have electricity. So my situation right now where I am hasn't changed much. So digital inequity will still be there, even if suddenly the pandemic disappears. Why flashcards? You've heard my serendipity story, and but I wanted to also include something around reflection to improve one's practice. And most of the time, when I talk around about digital inequality and also even around discrimination, I find that what I'm saying is being misinterpreted because probably people, well, they've got their own judgment and biases, so they are coming, they're listening to me or to a statement with these biases. And I thought, well, a picture is worth 1,000 words. It in no means means that nobody will misinterpret a picture. It does happen, but I think it will be more impactful with pictures. And also around the serendipity story that I shared, it's a creative solution. I wanted to move away a bit from the problems that I was having and the way that I was tackling it. So just tackle it in a different way. So moving into the project, so flashcards to raise digital inequalities awareness. It's a project that will be under CC, and there is just a small set of guidelines. So you can send your photos, any photos of your own. You can send photos, let's say if you've got kids or neighbors who you know directly were affected by digital inequality. Obviously, with their permission, you send pictures. Best is to not send pictures of people face to face. If it's you and you're comfortable with that, that's fine. Otherwise, there's just some guidelines around how you can send pictures of, for example, somebody from the back or something like that. And your contribution will be curated. And I've added caption. Earlier today, I think it was during Paolo's open book with pictures, somebody did raise a question around how do you get people who are visually impaired to participate or to understand what you're doing. That's why I actually introduced caption. I'm a big advocate of accessibility, especially have been working with visually impaired before. So I've added captions, which so far are 25 words, but if it exceeds a bit, that doesn't matter. And you'll be able to add caption, a meaningful caption that is depicting your story, the photo that you're sending. I would like to take some time, obviously, in this session today to do a photo-a-thon or to have some discussion. So I'm just going to very briefly go through some of the pictures that I've myself contributed to these flashcards. Somebody has written, my students often try that once pictures worth 1,000 words. Yes, indeed. Sorry, it says Entrecom Ireland. I don't know who it is, but it's one of our OER community members. So this picture that you're seeing on your slide is actually a tiny desktop that I ordered on 16 March 2020, when the PM just declared now is the time for everyone to stop non-essential contact and travel. I didn't have a working laptop. I had a laptop, but it was not working, so it would have in no means help me do the day-to-day job that I needed to get done. And my tablet was no point. The several phones that I have also was not going to help me to be able to be productive. So I had the money at that time. I ordered a tiny desktop. The reason why I took the picture was my parents don't know what is a tiny desktop. The only computer they've seen me have is my Pentium 4, which I bought surprisingly on 9/11. My stories with technologies tend to be associated with some international things, crisis apparently. So I took that picture to show my parents how small that was, what is a tiny desktop. But I also wrote a but here, which is a reflection of if I had already access to all these, I wouldn't have had to buy that. But I was lucky enough that I had the money to buy it. But the actual story that I want to showcase in terms of inequality is this is a booster that I've had to recently buy because I'm currently in Mauritius. The broadband is crazy. I'm paying I've had to upgrade to 20 Mbps. I'm paying around 20 quid. When I mean 20 quid, is not our my local currency. I mean 20 pounds for 20 Mbps. When I was in UK, I was paying probably 23 pounds for unlimited bandwidth. So I've had to buy a booster, but the problem with this booster is most of the time, well, on a daily basis almost, I will have power cut. It will just go like this and come. So sometimes for a few minutes, sometimes a bit longer. It's not something I'm forewarned about. So every time I've got to reset that, and that's one of the reasons why today, just to present, I've had to also buy a data package. Which, by the way, I've added a picture here, which is I've had to just add. So my presentation, my time, Marsha's time was at 4:30. At 3:35, I actually just quickly added a package from my phone. This is actually an example of inequality. I'm sure I'm trying to also follow some of the chat. Catherine said, delighted to be here again. God drop. Oh, dodging way, persevering. Wonderful to hear. Oh, thank you, Catherine. I'm sure most of you would have faced would have had either a colleague or most probably a student in your institution or department who had to rely on data when the pandemic started. I myself, I don't own a house in the UK. I was a renter, and I didn't have a broadband as such. I was using hotspot. Lucky enough, I was with a company that had reliable connection. So just with my phone and hotspot, that worked, and I did all my work with that. But if you do have example, that's your chance then to contribute to the flashcards. So now I think we have a bit of time, about 5 minutes, I'm not too sure, that you could contribute to a Photo-a-thon. I'm not sure if I can share this on my screen now. This is going to come up. But do follow the guidelines, and you can be as creative as you want. So, for example, if you've had a student, one example that I'm working at the moment, one photo that I'm going to take is there is a student who has had their mom has had to buy a phone on credit just so they could join Zoom and Google Meet. So I'm going to take a picture of that, but obviously it's not going to be, I'm not going to show the student as such. But I'm also collating on Padlet ideas. If you click on this link, I wonder if Kerry could add these links on the chat, maybe. So a link to the Photo-a-thon and a link to the Padlet. I've already got some people who shared. Sorry, can you still see my screen? I'm not too sure because it's of the lag.
Yep, we can still see you, don't worry.
Okay, so can you see my Padlet? Or maybe
It's open
Kerry,
on another tab, Tiramani, we can't see it.
Okay. Sorry, I'll just stop sharing and share again. Seems that's So hopefully now you can see this Padlet. So I've already got 2 contributions to this Padlet. So somebody who, I know who it is, the person forgot to write their name, but the person was both in the UK and Italy during the pandemic. So who contributed for access and an ongoing issue in hybrid learning. So we know there is still an issue in the UK as well. It's not just a problem of Mauritius, UK, or I don't know, Cape Town or things like this, but everywhere where we are, we have seen some issues around digital inequality. And there is, trying to get that down, there is another contribution from the same person from when they were in Italy, which is some kids in rural areas only had their parents' mobile and limited data to access learning during the pandemic. And this is exactly the sort of example that I want to have as contribution in this flashcard, because then we can continue to use that when the pandemic has receded to continue to raise awareness, because there was certain boost in, hey, there's digital inequality when the pandemic started, but many people don't realize, people who don't work around equity, they don't realize that it was something that existed and will exist. And now we are at a stage where we need to say, now post-pandemic, how do we change that? How do we decrease that digital inequity? I can't quite see if anybody is commenting, but if you have comments, do put in the chat, please. And I'm not too sure on time if it's question time, Kerry. So Teresa contributed something, a comment which said, when the pandemic hit, sorting data packages and working devices was just some of the pressing issues, increasing stress levels for staff and student alike, hospitals and having to isolate. Teresa, you're welcome to write this on the Padlet, please, just so they can all be curated. And if you're not logged into Padlet, do put your name and probably the city where you had this experience. Sorry, I'm also trying to.
We've got about 9 minutes left for questions, Tiramani, so there's plenty of time if you want to let people comment.
Yeah, so I'm also going to. I'm going to stop sharing and share the flashcard because I've had Alan Levin who shared. He can make it. I think it's too early for him today, so I'm just going to share some of the pictures he's shared as well. So hopefully you can see the flashcards now. So somebody has Justin adding something from Zalika refugee camp. An online student who is a research participant in my study has no electricity at home. Yeah.
Tiramani, we can't see the flashcards. We can only see your slides.
Sorry, I've just shared it. Has it not come up yet? I think
No,
there's a
I
little.
think it's just, yeah, might be the tab needs swapping.
Yeah. Oh. Okay. Oh no, sorry. Yeah, I had the wrong one. I chose the wrong one. Yeah. So now I'm hopefully on the right one. So somebody from Malawi shared a picture of a refugee camp where an online master's student was living there and had no electricity. Justin, I don't know if it's your own picture. I see you've put that in your caption. So you can put it as in person if you wish. Alan, yesterday night or sometime early morning, shared something around the basic design of internet was simple some time ago, though it was still equally slow. And he also shared on the picture, which is where he was sitting on his roof to get a better connection. But that was obviously pre-pandemic. But I'm looking for contribution anytime because, as I said, digital inequality existed before pandemic, during pandemic, and will exist. And I think we need to continue to build on that. And I've also got a picture in the pending, which is, as I said, a school student whose single mother had to buy a smartphone on credit. And hopefully I will put some of my own pictures as well. And if you can, if you don't have time to right now send some photos, you can do so. It's going to be left open for quite some month. And it's going to be, this project is going to then be curated and uploaded on the Creative Etchy website. They also have some flashcards, which they were doing during the pandemic, which was more around some pictures of where you're walking and things like this. But this one is particularly on tackling a problem, which is tech inequity. I wonder if there is any comments. Anyone has added anything? Teresa said she'll add to the Padlet. Yeah, so a message maybe to Justin, if you want to add to the Padlet as well, where you'll have the opportunity to explain in more words your story, that would be great as well. And somebody has added a new picture. Design all courses to be asynchronous, so students can wait until they have access to a device and broadband, not relying on live session, which is when everything can go wrong. I'm not too sure who's adding this. As long as it's your own pictures, cool, put it, and they'll be curated. If you do have a Twitter handle, you can add it, and when we promote it, we'll promote you as well on Twitter. We'll promote your photo on Twitter as well. I think there's no question. It's something that everyone is pretty familiar with, isn't it? Now we just need to continue to engage in this conversation and encourage people who are not tech equity advocates to send photos and potentially then reflect by their involvement around digital inequality. They'll be able to reflect on how they can improve their practices. Stacy Cut said, I love the visual element of this, an opportunity for creativity. Yes, the reason for creativity is because I've been failing massively in getting my collaborators to think of digital inequality. I think words were just not working. And I think live experiences, so sometimes photos do capture, like, for example, the one that Justin has put. There have been lots of people who've been in similar situation as well, and there are students of UK higher education, but then during the pandemic they've had to go home, not be able to come back to UK. And there's been, with the VLE and the platform that we use, it's not always like, for example, today I couldn't join in several sessions which were on Blackboard Collaborate. I did join, but then I kept being kicked out because of my broadband. So it's lived experience, I think, for staff, for students, for everyone, not just in HE, but beyond. But how do we now reflect on that and continue this message, continue to tell people that digital inequity has not stopped, 2020 and 2022, it has stopped. No. It's going to have to continue because, as I said, I didn't get any richer, and I'm sure people, poverty is not going to suddenly vanish. So if poverty doesn't vanish and we move to online education, how can we ensure that everyone has the right bandwidth, broadband bandwidth, has the right, computer, laptop, and everything, or even accessibility, things like captioning, So that's a bit me. I don't know who added this. They were like, okay, not my image. We'll update the later. Yes, thank you. If you could just put a note of your name so I know whom to follow up with, that would help. That's me, Kerry. There doesn't seem to be questions, but mostly people being in agreement with taking this creative approach. You're welcome if you want to collaborate on that more closely. You're welcome. Always seeking collaborators, and that's it for me.
Got some lovely comments coming in to Romani as well. Lots of lovely comments, and another brilliant session from you, as always. Eye-opening, collaborative, and very enjoyable. So thank you so much once again for joining us this afternoon and for presenting. We've got a short break now, and then we have our plenary with Dr. Maria Soledad Ramirez Montoya at 2:10. I just want to say a big thank you to Romani one more time. So I'll give you a online clap. It's very strange to finish in silence, isn't it? I always think. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoy the rest of OER 22 and hopefully see you all later on this afternoon for some other sessions as well. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.